Okay, you guys, so for the next slide, what we're going to be looking at is this guy called Thomas Paine, who was a colonist and a patriot, meaning he was one of the colonists pushing for independence. Okay, why is he important? He wrote something called Common Sense, which is basically a pamphlet, which is like a long article or a little book, explaining to all the other colonists why they should all be pushing for independence from England. Because remember, they're split, right? There's the patriots and the loyalists and the neutralists. There's a bunch of people in that loyalist group, okay, who think we should not split from England. We should not push for independence from England. Thomas Paine is part of the patriot group who says, yes, yes, we should. Okay, he writes this thing called Common Sense, explaining why everyone should be pushing for independence from England. Now, this is the most, well, at least one of the most influential political documents ever written, because he writes with such passion and he comes up with such an interesting idea of what the new nation is going to be, and therefore why everyone should get on board with creating this new nation, that a lot of people who are neutral or who are loyalists switch sides, and they say, after they read this thing, they say, oh wow, yeah, we should do this. We should push for independence from England. We should fight this war if it comes to a war with England, and we should create this new country. Okay, so one thing he says is there's something absurd in a continent being governed by an island. Okay, so he's like, we're over here on this big North American continent. England is this little place way across the Atlantic Ocean. It's absurd that we're being governed by this little place way across the ocean. We should govern ourselves. Makes sense, right? Okay. Then he says the cause of America is the cause of all mankind. What does he mean by that? What are we talking about? What cause? Okay, he says the new nation will be the home of freedom. There's that word again that the Americans love, freedom. Okay, a lot of people back at this time in the 1700s are talking about freedom. They're throwing that word around, okay, just like Americans do today. Well, why do we throw that word around today? Where do we get it from? We get it from people like Thomas Paine, okay, who wrote Common Sense, Thomas Jefferson, who wrote the Declaration of Independence. Why are they all talking so much about freedom? Okay, what you're going to do on the calendar or from the handout that I gave you, okay, you can, if you don't have the handout I gave you, you can find it on the end grade calendar. Okay, you're going to look at a piece of Common Sense, a piece of this document that Thomas Paine wrote called Common Sense, okay, because it's in older English. It's going to be too hard for you guys to read a lot of it. Down at the bottom paragraph, okay, on this document, the bottom paragraph, this is really where I want you to focus, okay, and I'm going to help lead you through it for a little bit here, and we can do it more in class when our class resumes in person, okay, but he says at the bottom of this, he says, "O you who love mankind, and you who dare to oppose tyranny and the tyrant." Okay, what's a tyrant? What's tyranny? Okay, it's like a leader who is abusing power, who is not there for the people. Okay, he's acting like England is a tyrant. Okay, he says every spot of the world is overrun with oppression and freedom has been hunted around the globe. What he means is there's not a lot of freedom going on for people around the world. There's a lot of oppression of people. Okay, and he says Asia and Africa have expelled her. Okay, her means freedom. He's saying Europe regards her like a stranger. So he's saying that all these places around the world don't focus on freedom for people. And his last sentence, he says, "Receive the fugitive and prepare in time an asylum for mankind." what he's saying, receive the fugitive. Fugitives are people who flee because they're being oppressed, okay, like refugees. He's telling the other colonists, he's saying if we create this new country, we have to be ready to receive fugitives. We have to be ready to receive people who are being oppressed all around the world, and they're going to come here because we're going to give them freedom. He says, prepare in time an asylum for mankind. What's an asylum? My students always say, Professor, it's a place for crazy people. Okay, that's one version of what an asylum is. Asylum also means a safe place. So this bullet point on the PowerPoint, okay, an asylum for mankind. These are the big words. This is the big theme that Thomas Paine has for what the United States of America is going to be. It's going to be a safe place where people can come from around the world who are being oppressed, who don't have freedom. They can come to us here in the United States and they can have freedom, right? Freedom of a religion, freedom of speech, okay, freedom to believe and behave the way they want and not be oppressed and not be persecuted for the way they practice their religion, all of that stuff. So what Thomas Paine is doing is he's making the American cause a global cause, okay? The cause of America is the cause of all mankind. So instead of the colonists staying in their own little world, in their own little heads going, oh, well, should we have independence from England or should we stay loyal to the mother country? Is it good for me? He's saying, don't think small. Don't ask yourself if it's just good for you. He's like, this is glorious. This is grand. This is unprecedented. We're going to do something for the whole world. Our cause of getting rid of England and creating the United States isn't just for us. This is the cause for mankind, meaning this is for everyone. Look how amazing what we are going to create is going to be. Look how amazing this is going to be. People read what he's written and they switch sides. They're now on this wagon with Thomas Paine and Thomas Jefferson and these guys that are talking so much about freedom, right? They're like, woohoo! Yeah! Our cause is the cause of all mankind. We're going to be this amazing place with global significance, right? It's not just for us, colonists in these 13 colonies, right? It's got this grand significance now. Thomas Paine writes about this with so much passion that it becomes one of the most influential political documents in history. So, next slide, please. Okay, more information here explaining what I've just explained, okay? Reading this excerpt, understanding how is he making it a global significance, okay?